my god, yeah, they're raising it like it's their child. I don't know. I'm so scared. Please have a happy ending. I have done videos on all kinds of other SCPs before, but I don't know anything about this one. So let's get right to it. Yet another murder monster. That's a strange name. There's a lot of murder monsters.
Note, file under review. This document has been flagged for possible methodological issues. Please be aware that the following information is subject to change and may contain inaccuracies.
Item number, SCP-5031. Object class, Keter. Special containment procedures. SCP-5031 is to be contained in an airtight iron cell in Biosite 59. The structure must be inspected for imperfections on a bi-weekly basis. No other interaction necessary. Description: SCP-5031 is a non-sapient quasi-humanoid creature of unknown origin. When directly observed, SCP-5031 will temporarily cease to exist until the viewer stops observing the space that SCP-5031 formerly occupied.
Nani? What? So, its behavior changes depending on whether or not you're observing it. The first thing that I think of is quantum physics. You guys probably know what I'm talking about, like particles behaving differently. Perhaps this SCP uses a similar thing, or reacts in a similar way to that. Or maybe it just realizes that it's being observed and then it like cloaks itself and goes invisible.
Traces of its existence, for example scratch marks or blood trails, continue to exist when SCP-5031 does not.
Never mind, I completely forgot this keyword, exist. Cease to exist. How does one test that? I guess they know that it's not invisible because they can't like detect it with any other means. Or like maybe even if like you send something in like a D class or something and it goes through, it's just not there. I don't know, I'm hoping for some more clarification later on.
Video and photography devices do not capture SCP-5031's appearance. However, observing SCP-5031's shadow does not cause cessation of existence, allowing certain physiological traits to be inferred from its silhouette. Abnormally small head with no discernible
That's how we know
neck.
what it looks like.
Elbows branch into 3 sets of lower arms each. Elongated torso approximately 1.9 meters in length, presumably for extra digestive capacity. Pelvis terminates in a crescent-shaped protrusion of osseous tissue with a blade-like lower edge. Levitates above the ground at a fixed height of 0.5 meters.
It floats.
While SCP-5031 has no nutritional needs, it will nevertheless hunt and consume any human or animal it encounters by using its pendulous lower body to down targets. SCP-5031 does not sleep and is incapable of expression or verbal communication. Addendum: as of 14/02/2018, Senior Researcher Stanley Huxtable is now acting in the role of HCL Supervisor for SCP-5031. The following is a selection of relevant correspondences from Senior Researcher Huxtable to Site Director Yusuf Mustofi elucidating research progress. 14/02/2018. Initial impressions. I have no idea who wrote this, but there's a lot I'd like to say to them. I'm not a fan of abandoning a living creature inside a metal box for 10 years, no matter how pragmatic it may be.
Really?
It's difficult to fathom that such things were considered the norm a decade ago. Have you ever heard something scream from behind 10 inches of iron for hours on end? When I do my redraft, remind me to add anomalous resistance to hoarseness somewhere in the description. Could you work your magic and get the boys to retrofit the containment cube with an aperture and security vestibule? I'd like to run some tests that require exposing SCP-5031 to certain stimuli.
I mean, for me, I'd be very fine with closing off whatever this thing is, just in a metal box for eternity. It's like, we really don't want it to escape. But I suppose as an SCP scientist, you kind of have to test and you have to figure out what it does in order to potentially combat it if it ever does escape. And maybe it'll offer something useful somehow. Because like this ability to cease its existence seems pretty OP if you could somehow, I don't know, maybe give it to like MTFs if they're ever in like a tight spot. Although I highly doubt that we'd be able to utilize it.
08/03/2018. Round 1 tests. Sound. Summary. Forward. Installed speakers in the containment vestibule and played various albums of natural ambience and popular music. SCP-5031's propensity for screaming worked as a convenient way to measure its stress levels. 100% would be considered its typical screaming, volume and duration, over 48 hours, and 0% would be no screaming at all.
I would have assumed that it would be like a silent hunter, but I didn't remark on it, but yeah, like it just screams all the time. Then again, it wouldn't really have to be a silent hunter because it's not necessarily hunting for food. It just hunts because maybe that's within its nature, to like kill and consume.
Selection. Morning forest ambience. Stress level 43%. Seaside paradise ambience 48%. Deep grotto ambience 62%. The best of Mozart 13%. The best of Enya 18%. The best of Ben Folds 6%. The best of Jethro Tull 59%. The best of Kiss 23%. Afterward. Efficacy of music for stress reduction gradually decreases over time. I've assembled a playlist of SCP-5031's favorite music to play on shuffle in its enclosure in perpetuity. Stress levels consistently remain in the 15 to 25% range. Baseline adjusted accordingly.
Gotcha.
22/03/2018. Round 2 tests. Play. Summary. Test. Threw softball into enclosure. Result. SCP-5031 sliced the ball in two. Test. Tossed basketball into enclosure.
Slice the ball.
SCP-5031 sliced the ball open. Test. Rolled bowling ball into enclosure. Result. SCP-5031 scratched a couple of grooves into the ball, then rolled the ball around the enclosure with the blunt end of its tail for 20 minutes. Stress levels remained less than 60% after play. Test. Rolled another bowling ball into the enclosure.
Okay.
Result. SCP-5031 used the blunt end of its tail to hit the balls together for a while. Stress levels remained less than 40% after play. Test. Bowling ball chipped and would no longer roll properly. Unplanned. Result. Stress levels increased to around 115%. Test. Replacement bowling ball provided. Result. Stress levels fell back to around 40%.
I just imagine it just rolling a ball around like a kid, and it looks like this. Oh, that's interesting. Then no, it's not just geared towards killing everything in sight. It knows how to have fun and kind of wants to. Well, this is also based off of the fact that we've decided to create a stress level system based off of, the volume that it's screaming at, which I feel like is maybe an assumption, although a logical one, to be sure. But for a creature like this, can you really attribute like stress levels to its screaming? It's logic for us, but we don't know about it. I don't know. This whole rant that I'm going on could be kind of dumb, but I'm just trying to consider every angle.
Test. Tossed basketball into enclosure. Result. SCP-5031 picked up and played with the ball. Stress levels remained less than 20% after play.
Interesting. So maybe this is kind of like learned behavior. Like, it didn't slice open the bowling ball and it knew that it was a ball they could roll around and play with. But at first it sliced open the basketball because it didn't know that. But now it can play with it properly.
Afterward. SCP-5031 began to use its hands to play with the basketball, possibly to avoid accidentally damaging it. Motor skill comparable to that of a toddler. SCP-5031 still prefers bowling ball for kicking. 05/04/2018. Round 3 tests. Food. Summary. Forward. SCP-5031 was given the choice between two potential food sources placed at opposite ends of the enclosure. Choices: human corpse or pig carcass. Selection:
Human
pig
corpse.
carcass. Choices: pig carcass or chicken carcass. Selection, pig carcass. Choices, pig carcass or rotisserie chicken. Selection,
Oh yeah,
rotisserie,
get that rotisserie chicken.
Choices, chicken carcass or rotisserie chicken. Selection, rotisserie chicken. Choices, live chicken or rotisserie chicken. Selection,
Interesting.
rotisserie chicken. Choices, roasted turkey or rotisserie chicken. Selection, neither, presumed sated.
So, no, it doesn't specifically want to eat humans. It wants to eat the good stuff. Like, if it's cooked properly and probably tastes better, I mean, do you even have taste buds? What an interesting test. I mean, it makes sense, but like, I don't recall any other SCPs kind of like being tested upon in such a way. Like, it didn't even go for the live chicken. It just went for the rotisserie chicken instead.
Afterward, while it's true that SCP-5031 doesn't necessarily need to eat, feeding it regularly has caused a marked decrease in average stress levels. Stress reduction seems to scale proportionally with the quality of food provided. Also of note is that SCP-5031 prefers to use its tail to pry and cut meat into bite-sized portions rather than rip the meat into chunks with its teeth or hands. 12/04/2018. Round
Properly
4
food.
tests. Coexistence. Summary. Test 1. SCP-5031 fed until sated. Live subject, common chicken, introduced to enclosure.
Okay,
Result.
we're starting with chickens. I thought you'd send a class D
SCP-5031
in.
observed subject from a distance for several minutes and then rolled a bowling ball towards subject at high speed. Subject was killed instantly. SCP-5031's stress levels rose immediately and drastically.
Oh no, poor SCP-5031. He just wanted a friend to play ball with. Oh. Maybe if you like introduce another chicken again, it'll be a bit more gentler with it. Or maybe it'll get a taste for killing. I don't know. Where's the twist coming? Because so far it seems pretty innocent.
Test 2. Bowling balls removed from enclosure. SCP-5031 fed until sated. Live subject, common chicken, introduced to enclosure.
Okay, let's
Result.
see how this goes.
SCP-5031 gently rolled a basketball towards subject. Ball hit subject lightly. Subject responded with a small cry and moved away. SCP-5031 did not engage with subject any further. Test 3. SCP-5031 fed until sated. Live subject, Class D, blindfolded, introduced to the enclosure and instructed to sit and roll basketball forward. Then wait until it came back and roll away again.
Ah, yeah, that's right. They have to blindfold the Class D. Well, maybe to, like, you know, not let the Class D freak out, and also, like, if you observe it, it just ceases to exist, so, yeah.
Result. Subject and SCP-5031 successfully rolled the ball back and forth for several minutes. SCP-5031 eventually abandoned the activity and approached the subject. Per safety protocol, subject removed their blindfold to terminate the activity. Test 4. SCP-5031 fed until sated. Live subject, Class D, introduced to the enclosure and instructed to toss a tennis ball at the wall. Let it ricochet behind them, then catch and repeat. Result. SCP-5031 stood behind subject and successfully engaged in a game of catch, mimicking subject's action of letting ball ricochet against the wall. Afterward, SCP-5031's motor skills appear to be rapidly improving.
I feel like that's not a good thing. Oh god. Okay, where are we going with this? Like, the way that this is written, we can see the progression from like a small toddler who doesn't really understand the world around it to, well, potentially another murder monster. Yeah. But I like this one though. There's more of like a story behind to this SCP. And like thinking about it, I usually do prefer the SCPs with a story attached to them rather than just it being like a file reporting on some weird thing.
1605-2018. Round 5 tests. Symbols. Summary.
Gonna teach
Forward.
it to read and write?
5 LCD displays were fitted into the wall of SCP-5031's enclosure, each with a lit button and a food dispenser underneath. Test 1. 2 stations activated. Screen 1 displayed the image of a rock. Its button dispensed rocks. Screen 2 displayed the image of a rotisserie chicken. Its button dispensed pieces of chicken. Result: SCP-5031 poked at the image of the chicken for a few minutes and eventually hit the button. Chicken was dispensed until SCP-5031 was satisfied.
I think they kind of do tests like this with apes as well. And well, I mean, like, other animals too. It's just interesting to observe their learned behavior. And most of the time, I think those kind of tests usually end with removing the thing or giving them something unexpected. So we'll see how that goes here.
Test 2. Screen displays and the materials dispensed were swapped. Result:
There it is.
SCP-5031 hit the button it had hit the previous day and received a rock. It then went to the other screen and hit the button to dispense chicken.
Okay.
Test 3. Screen displays and materials dispensed were swapped back to their original positions and set to swap again at random intervals after the first distribution. Result: SCP-5031 went directly to the button next to the image of the chicken, experienced apparent confusion after the first mid-distribution swap, but quickly learned to watch the images. Test 4. 3 more stations, screens, buttons, dispensers were activated. 4 stations displayed the word rock and dispensed rocks. 1 station displayed the word chicken and dispensed chicken. Arrangements set to change randomly several times over the following days. Result: through trial and error, SCP-5031 determined which station dispensed chicken. SCP-5031 subsequently went to the station marked chicken whenever the displays were swapped. Test 5. All stations deactivated except 1. Screen displayed the word chicken. 7 wood blocks were set in front of the station, each marked with one of the letters in the word chicken. The station's button was set to remain unlit and inactive until the blocks were arranged in the correct order.
Teaching it how to spell.
Result: SCP-5031 expressed apparent frustration, hitting the inactive button repeatedly and striking the wall with its tail.
Understandably.
Test 6. Same as previous test, but screen displayed the word chicken with each letter overlaid on a photo of a wood block. Result: after 12 minutes, SCP-5031 successfully assembled the word chicken. Afterward, it can learn language, Yusuf.
Is that a good thing? Is what we're doing a good thing? I don't know.
29/08/2018. Round 6 tests. Vocabulary. Results. Forward, SCP-5031 has learned to use letter blocks to form the following words. Foods: chicken, turkey, pork, tofu, beef, bread, more salt, more pepper, more cooked.
Salt.
Music: Mozart, Enya, Ben Folds, Forest, Seaside, White Noise, more volume, less volume, and silence. Play: basketball, bowling ball, tennis ball, cat, dog, human, Robert, D52125, Stanley, and alone. Afterward, through its increased vocabulary and human interaction, SCP-5031 has made the following progress: established food preferences and dish pairings, learned to sing non-verbally, and learned to juggle.
God.
6-handed juggling is something to behold.
Holy, it can juggle?
05,
I can't even do
10,
that.
2018. Round 7 tests. Activities. Summary. Test 1. Introduced table, paper, and crayons into the enclosure. Live subject D52125 instructed to demonstrate drawing for SCP-5031. Result: SCP-5031 learned to draw. Discernible subjects depicted in its artwork include D52125, SCP-5031, a rotisserie chicken, a cat, and myself. Test 2. Introduced piano to the enclosure. Live subject D52125 instructed to play chopsticks blindfolded and invite SCP-5031 to play along. Subject had time to practice beforehand. Result: SCP-5031 learned chopsticks in 2 days, though it appeared more interested in making its own original music complete with vocals. These compositions might be considered crude by human standards.
I mean, yeah, it just learned to read.
Spice rack into the enclosure.
Very recently.
Live subject D52125 instructed to demonstrate seasoning meats. Result: SCP-5031 spent almost 3 straight days experimenting with different combinations of foods and spices. SCP-5031 assembled the words more with its letter blocks after running out of garlic powder. Afterward, SCP-5003 only engages with art and music when accompanied by D52125, but it continues to be preoccupied with food preparation even when alone.
Interesting.
0401 2019.
Food preparation.
Round 8 tests. Cooking. Results. Forward. Basic kitchen utilities installed in enclosure. Sharp implements withheld per security protocol. SCP-5031 used its tail to cut food. Live subject D52125 instructed to demonstrate preparation of various recipes. Recipes learned: quesadilla, taco, hamburger, fried rice, Mongolian beef, spicy chicken curry, chocolate chip cookies, sponge cake with buttercream, fudge, clam chowder, steak,
hell yeah,
macaroons,
clam chowder,
chicken abodo, smoked salmon, and profiteroles.
Dude. Oh, when's the restaurant gonna open? You imagine you go into a restaurant, look at the back, and this is your chef. I mean, that would certainly attract a particular audience.
Afterward, SCP-5031 has a severe peanut allergy. This should be included in the revised containment procedures. I would also like to note that SCP-5031 is now a better chef than the average human. It has begun to create its own recipes.
Dang.
D52125 has volunteered to taste test.
Yo.
3006, 2019.
Restaurant
Update.
when?
SCP-5031 has said its first word. Salt. We are all immensely proud.
Oh my god, yeah, they were raising it like it's their child. I don't know. I'm so scared. Please have a happy ending.
29/11/2019. Final test. Summary. SCP-5031 was given 2 months to develop a 3-course meal to serve at the Biosite-59 cafeteria for personnel working over Thanksgiving.
Oh my
Its
god,
selections
it's
were as
cooking.
follows. First course: sweet potato turmeric miso soup. Second course: duck confit with apple cider glaze and cranberry compote topping paired with butternut squash gnocchi on a bed of kale seasoned with truffle salt. Third course: a slice of spiced cassava pie topped with French vanilla ice cream and maple hazelnut syrup. SCP-5031 also debuted its original composition, Piano Sonata for 6 Hands, in a live performance broadcast from its enclosure. Personnel response was overwhelmingly positive. SCP-5031 stress levels at 0%. Testing successfully concluded. Revised documentation submitted for approval.
There's nothing more. Wait, we actually get a happy ending?
Today's lecture.
Yo,
Thank you for
let's
listening,
go!
if indeed you still are, and you are all dismissed. Goodbye.
Man, what a wholesome guy. Dude, I love that one. There was like this whole story leading up to it becoming like some sort of advanced killer. Like, that's what I imagine. It'll let me like, you look at the 3D model of it, or its face right here. Yo, what the hell, dude? And like the title, Yet Another Murder Monster. But I get it. I understand now. Yet another murder monster. Is what you would assume. But no, far from it. Man, what a great SCP. I love this video so much, man. Such a great twist, such a different direction it was taken in. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this one as well, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. I'll catch you guys in the next one.